Namaste. I'm Vivek Govekar. This is another episode in the podcast That Was Zen, This Is Tao. I'm going to talk about my Kundalini awakening. A Kundalini awakening is a process by which you start to have an energy running through your spine. It's an autonomous process that just begins because you've done something in the past where either done yoga or done some kind of breathing exercises, or sometimes just spontaneously it's your time and you get exposed to something like this, yoga or some music or something, and you're not even consciously doing it, but you awaken your Kundalini. So one of the big questions I keep getting asked about the Kundalini process is, what do I do? How do I get it? That's the first thing people want to know. And my answer is twofold. One, well, there's a lot of stuff I can tell you that can get you on the path of a Kundalini awakening. Will you get it for a fact? That's number two, which there's no guarantee. I can't guarantee anything. I can give you methods and paths which can take you up to a level where, you have created an environment that is conducive to awakening of a Kundalini. So how do we do that? And why is this so rare, so unheard of, in the realm of almost like a supernatural? It is kind of supernatural, but why don't we know more about this? Why isn't that part of our teaching? Well, the very simple answer is not many people have a Kundalini awakening. So the human being is set up as a two-stage process, right? Just as a plant is set up as two-stage process, as in seeds and the grown plant. And Jesus uses a lot of these examples in his words, like a seed. Some seeds fall and get wasted, eaten up by birds. Some are destroyed in some other ways, and only one or only a few sprout, are taken care of, are in the right environment, get the right amount of water, and become a tree. So in the same way, human beings have a two-stage process, and even fewer than the number of seeds that germinate are the number of people that actually awaken a Kundalini. So many years, many centuries, many thousands of years could go by, and you could have a few that have awakened but still not gone to fruition because they thought they were going crazy. They didn't have the right guidance. They didn't have the right people. They didn't have the right background to fall back on and see, oh, okay, this is what a Kundalini, yeah, I've heard of this. I was lucky enough. See, I consider myself extremely lucky for many reasons. First of all, I was, I don't know how to say this without sounding conceited, but something of a child prodigy. I was smarter than most people. I, grasped things faster. I got a PhD at a very young age and those kind of things, So in addition to that, I also grew up in an Indian traditional background where not just praying to God or going to a temple was important, but knowing about these things, reading about these esoteric things was, something people did just as a hobby. My father did it, my uncles did it, and people discussed these things. So I knew about what it meant to have something like this happen, should it ever happen. Okay, never actually paying attention to what they were saying. They were just, I wasn't listening to it in the background as a kid, and then grew up and thought, okay, this is just, superstition and mumbo jumbo and not gonna happen until it happened to me. Then, fortunately, I had this whole literature to fall back on, a whole tradition. So every time my mind said, no, this is something crazy. What am I seeing? Why am I seeing these things? Why is this pain happening? It was never like, okay, let me find solutions by going to a doctor. I always knew right away that if such a thing as a Kundalini awakening exists, and yes, maybe in the past I may have said, yeah, I don't believe in its existence, but if it's happening, then this is what it is, and this is how it happens. I instinctively knew about it. So that's why I consider myself very lucky. Also, I'm a student. I've always been an obsessive student of everything. I read books just for fun. And I'm not talking books as in novels and, fiction and stuff to read just to entertain yourself. I mean, books to understand history, psychology, how a civilization got created. And so now I just changed myself to reading esoteric stuff. Now, it was a necessity. I needed to read that stuff. Otherwise, I was not going to have an easy time with this process in my body. Now, as I read more and more, I realized that this is the only process there is. I mean, every esoteric book, I thought, well, some people might go through some other process, and Kundalini is something, maybe Hinduism has it. It's a specific religion-related process. And the more I read about it, the more I realized, no, it's like saying that seeds, like tomato seeds, for example, if you eat a tomato in India and if you ate a tomato in the United States and planted the seeds in two different places, it's like saying that two different plants would come out depending on where you plant them. No, the seeds will be of the plant that you planted, of the kind of fruit or vegetable that you wanted, right? So the Kundalini process, because it is so esoteric, because it is so rare and very few people know about it, in Hinduism, we have a better understanding of it through yoga, through these schools, and they tell you how Kundalini will awaken eventually after you do yoga, pranayama, meditation, and good living, eat clean, healthy living, good food, all of that stuff. So once that is understood, you start looking into literature from that specific perspective. Because this is very simple. You have people that talk about godly stuff, teach people meditation, even act like they're aware at a higher conscious level, unless they've had a Kundalini awakening. However, whatever they're saying, even they may not know that there is a higher level available. What I'm going through and what all of these so-called saints and swamis and Jesus and Moses, why I'm considering myself one of them, it's not a statement of conceit. Understand this. There are two kinds of people. There are people that have awakened and seen this and gone, oh, and then it's pretty easy. But what comes out of my mouth or what comes out of these people's mouths sounds very high level and like, wow, this is just something I can't even think of. And let me listen to this because this is sense, wisdom, knowledge. Well, we don't make it of ourselves. It's all within all of us. You, me, everyone. And with an awakening, it gets clear. It comes out clearly. It's easily understandable. And it's like, oh, that simple? Oh, what's the big deal? Like reading letters, reading a signboard in English. When all you know is English letters, what's an A, B, C, so you can see all of that, but you have no idea what the language is saying. That's how people are when they're reading any book, the Bible or the Gita or whatever. And they compare it to their experience of mundane human life. And some of those things make sense to them. So it takes a much, much longer time to say, oh yeah, you know what? I read the Bible and this verse like every day or every few days for months and years. And now I finally understand it. You have the capacity to understand it. You've been given that as well. And so have I. With a Kundalini awakening, it just gets accelerated and goes up to a higher level and becomes a more higher level process of understanding the world that you live in. And some higher revelations, there's no other word for it, of an intellectual nature, of a spiritual nature, of an emotional nature become obvious to you. And when you speak, it's just like, oh, this is how things are, this is how this is. Knowing that it's the energy working with my body, my consciousness, cleansing what is not needed, and giving me this perspective with my new third eye that's now opened up and all of this that is happening to me, which makes it so much easier to understand, right? Why aren't these people any more special than you or I, Jesus, Moses? Or, on the other hand, why aren't you any different from any of these people? They are not the only person that came, because only people following that religion say that that's the only person that came. That's the only prophet, right? If there's a multiplicity of lineage of people that have been coming into that sect or religion, then you have a group of people and you have wise sayings from all of those people accumulated. But when that person is saying that, or when that person awakened, he went through pretty much the same process that I did. And some of them weren't even prophets. Some of them were musicians or artists or, however they chose to express their individuality. But it's at a higher level. Okay? So this is what I would like to emphasize about the Kundalini process. Everything that you do towards the Kundalini awakening is going to make you a better person. Okay? It's going to take you more and more inwards. It's going to give you better focus. Meditation is going to give you better focus. Pranayama, the breathing exercises, are going to give you better health, a better way of dealing with your emotions, because emotions are all about your breath. When you watch a movie and you're watching a scene with a fight going on, you hold your breath. When you're crying, you sob and big deep breaths come out, right? But if you learn to control your breath, then your emotions and whatever emotional stimulus that you're getting and how you're reacting to it is under your control and under your choice. So pranayama makes you better that way in dealing with the outside world or your own emotions and the stress or any kind of problems that you might deal with. Meditation will give you more focus. Mindfulness will give you a little detachment to what's going on so you don't get carried away that easily, and you take a step back and start seeing the world from a more objective point of view, right? None of this will guarantee the final stage, the final step of that shell breaking and that energy going haywire in your body, right? But once it happens, then there's no going back to the previous you. Once the seed breaks and the plant sprouts out, then you can't say, well, where's the seed? Let me go back. Are there any shells left? Can we make it into a seed again? No. Then you're going to see leaves and plant with roots, all of those things. Then the physiology and how you approach that entity changes completely. In my case, no, I'm not going to become a different organism and have different appendages coming out of my body and becoming some other being. I'm just going to look and sound different to people that knew me before. Even that people that did not know me before are going to say, well, this person makes some sense in these saying things that I would like to learn more about. Why? Because I know that subject inside out without reading a single book. I mean, I've later on gone and read those books and validated what I was experiencing. But the book didn't give me that knowledge. It's the awakening that gave me the knowledge. Okay? In my case, I've been fortunate enough, like I said, I was smart and well-read to begin with. Having this happen to me puts me at an accelerated level even among smarter people and well-read people. One thing I chose to do is, because I had my training as a scientist, not that it all goes away and now you're back to your primordial, your previous unconditioned self, so now you're just a child. Yes, partly that happens, but your brain has accumulated all those memories. You've learned a lot of that stuff from before, from your previous background. That, if you allow it to, and if you learn it properly, if you use those things in conjunction with what's going on now, the new you become even better. You're going to be a better scientist, a better photographer, a better doctor, a better whatever you were before. If you choose not to take that knowledge, or you choose to take that scientific knowledge and say, well, I love science, but let me start a science series of books and write those because my artistic abilities as an author are coming out. As someone who explains things better are coming out. So you may not be a hardcore scientist, but your scientific training, along with your Kundalini awakening, will make you something that you were meant to be and explain some things and pass that knowledge along to people. Okay? Work towards the Kundalini awakening by doing yoga, by doing pranayama, by eating well, by understanding Ashtanga yoga. That's my only method that I can give you, which I know for a fact is been given as a codified method to awaken the Kundalini. But no one can give you a guarantee that this will lead to a Kundalini awakening. The other way to do it is to go and get Shaktipat, which is someone transfers the energy over to you who already is awakened. Now, I'm not at that stage yet. I can't transfer by Shaktipat. And I don't even care. I'm not into collecting acolytes and disciples and becoming a Swami. That's not my goal. My goal through these videos and other lectures and books that I plan to come out with is to educate people and to pass on knowledge on how to deal with an awakening, how to get close to an awakening, and what to do, or what an awakening person, how his perspective towards the world can help you live your own life better. And all about living, being your true self, being an individual, removing conditioning, staying in a balanced equanimity that is making you a better person at whatever you approach, however you approach it. Okay, so a Kundalini awakening is a second stage of human evolution, only attainable to some people because that's how it is. Happens accidentally in some cases, as in mine. Happens through deliberate effort in other cases, as in people that are yogis who live in ashrams and slowly awaken their Kundalini. And each one of these methods, eventually, when you awaken, is going to put you on a path automatically without any input from you other than just aligning with the energy and going along with where the energy is taking you and making sure that the old stuff is discarded in a healthy way by learning pranayama, by learning yoga, by being more of a meditator and using tools and methods and supplements and whatever is needed to bring yourself in alignment with the energy and what it's trying to do with you. Okay, so that is in a nutshell what a Kundalini does to you and how you change and how you could use it in your life to help yourself. All right, hope that helps. Thank you so much. Namaste.